What is up, fellas? We are back for a UFC event recap for UFC Fight Night Royval versus Taira. Guys, oh man, it's easy. It's easy when you're the best, when you're at the fucking top, at the peak of fighting picks. We swept the card. Yeah, yeah, we did. Uh, um, yeah, I wanted to start making recaps for events and stuff, and I figured, oh, what's a better event to recap than one I swept? So, hopefully you guys tailed. Uh, Even though I say don't take my picks as betting advice ever, because this is the most volatile sport in the world. But sometimes you look like the sharpest man of all time. But let's jump in and recap this event. I'll quit jerking myself off. Let's jump right in. We opened up the card at flyweight with Mr. Carpenter versus Mr. Roja. This fight was pretty open and shut case as far as I was concerned. I said that the Clayton Carpenter would have a pretty distinct grappling advantage, whereas Lucas Roja would have a distinct advantage on the feet. I don't rate Clayton Carpenter's striking all that much, but I said the grappling and the size advantage would be what makes the big difference here in this fight. And as you can see by the stats, it was true. Basically, once Carpenter got Roja to the mat, it was pretty much curtains for the young man. Sunk in a RNC, landed some devastating ground and pound in round one as well. Cut Roja open in three places: above his eye, under this eye, and then on his nose. It was a pretty dominant performance from Clayton Carpenter. However, he did show that his striking is a little bit iffy. Got caught with some big shots on the feet, but if he was going to get caught or lose the fight, I would have suspected it would have happened on the feet. And I was largely exactly right there. Oh, and I'll do this too. I picked Carpenter decision. I thought he would just coast out a decision, but he actually went for the sub. We love effective grappling. We love that shit. Um, Moving up to bantamweight, Dan Argueta took on Cody Haddon, and guys, I picked Cody Haddon in this fight. I basically said I could see Dan Argueta getting an iffy decision by just working an insane pace, but I will say this: Cody had impressed the fuck out of me with his takedown defense and his cardio. He put on a hell of a performance in this matchup. Honestly, both of these guys did. Dan Argueta, shut the fuck up, ESPN. I don't care about the Longhorns taunt. Get off my fucking screen. Uh, I mean, if you see here, Dan Argueta shot 24 takedowns and attempted 151 strikes. I mean, both of these guys went out there and fought their hearts out, but largely Cody Haddon was able to defend every single takedown, basically from Dan Argueta, but four. And on the feet, Cody Haddon was just a much more composed striker. Now, I thought Cody Haddon would catch Dan Argueta with a big shot on the feet and sub him. That was my exact prediction, but Cody Haddon wasn't able to really hurt Dan Argueta so badly to drop him. Credit to Dan Argueta though, man. His durability held up because he ate some fucking bombs in this fight, and a lot of them. That was a sensational performance from Cody Haddon. But yeah, that's our second pick we got right. Moving up. Can you see everything? I'm trying to make sure you see everything. You can't really. Moving up to women's strawweight, Julia Pilastri versus Corey McKenna. I picked Julia Pilastri just because of the physicality. She's much bigger and much more stronger. Just looking at them in the cage, you can tell there's just a difference in the physicality of these two ladies. I said on the feet she was going to be much better, and largely she was in this fight, dominated, especially in the clinch. She was clinching up Corey McKenna, locking up that tight clinch and just driving knees into her the entire time. And anytime Corey McKenna would either shoot a takedown, it would get defended, except for the third round. Of course, she did get a takedown in the third round and won the end of that round pretty much. But outside of that, she had no moments in this fight. Anytime she landed on the feet, it did not affect Julia Pilastri at all. And all of the damage was done by, the bigger and more powerful lady. I picked Julia Pilastri by decision, and she got it done by decision. Really good performance from her because Corey McKenna is actually not too terrible. She's got decent grappling, and her striking did look improved. It's just Pilastri was just much bigger and just wasn't feeling the shots, and was marching her down, landing big knees and big shots on the feet as well. Good performance from her. Moving up to heavyweight, Junior Tafa was originally scheduled to fight Chris Barnett. Basically the same exact fucking style. Not the same style, but the same guy. Just a short, fat heavyweight. Junior Tafa fought Sean Sheriff instead. and knocked him the fuck out. Uh, which, if you would have asked me, hey, Luke, Chris Barnett's out, who are you picking in this fight? I would have told you Junior Top was going to knock this guy the fuck out. Just because short notice fight at heavyweight, and he's morbidly obese. Um, but honestly, Junior Taffa looked like an absolute steaming pile of shit in this fight. Uh, no cardio at all. Junior Taffa, I believe, had a full camp for this. Sean Sheriff didn't, so I give him a pass. Junior Taffa had 5 minutes of cardio, but credit to him, he did fight his way through it, fought his way through exhaustion, and got the TKO on an absolutely gassed Sean Sheriff in round two. Landing very nice uppercuts through the guard, though. Right up the middle through the guard. So even when Junior Taffa is absolutely just gassed, exhausted, he does have that striking technique. He does have good power in his hands and good shot selection. He just needs to go down to 205, man. I think he'd be much better there. But nonetheless, great knockout win for Junior Taffa. Moving up to welterweight, Thimba Garimbo versus Nico Price. I picked Thimba Garimbo. I thought he would get a TKO over Nico Price in this matchup. He did not. He won a pretty dominant decision. I just controlled Nico Price on the ground, went for a couple of submission attempts. I didn't actually watch this fight. I was busy watching Better Biev and Bivol, to be honest. Which, by the way, Bivol won that fight. That was one of the most bullshit decisions I've ever seen in my life. I'm not even going to rant about that. I picked Thimba Garimbo to win, and he did. He dominated Nico Price 30-27 on all three scorecards, won every single round, outstruck him, outgrappled him. Thimba Garimbo covering minus 320, so good for him. Moving up to featherweight, Jonathan Pierce versus Pat Sabatini. I didn't see a lot of people on Pat Sabatini. I'm going to be honest. I didn't see that many people on Pat Sabatini. I picked Pat Sabatini because I think Jonathan Pierce's grappling is fucking dog shit. And it was. Pat Sabatini was able to just take advantage of Jonathan Pierce, giving him his back. Pat Sabatini was also easily able to take down Jonathan Pierce. I don't think Jonathan Pierce is used to dudes actually shooting takedowns on him. And Pat Sabatini, striking's a little bit meh. That dude is elite if he gets you in the mount or on your back. He has great jiu-jitsu, great grappling, dangerous guy. Landed some decent strikes as well. Got the sub. I picked Pat Sabatini by sub, and there you have it. Got it done in round one via rear naked choke. Incredible performance from Pat Sabatini, honestly. Good win for him. He needed that, honestly. I don't know where Jonathan Pierce goes from here, though. Vergara versus Timarov. This was a funny ass fight. I basically said if Timarov doesn't knock out Vergara or beat Vergara, cut him. He basically just windmilled punches at Vergara's head, and because Vergara's fucking terrible, he ate them all clean on the chin and got knocked out in round one. Timarov, I'm not sure how to really read his skill set. He seems like a guy who's easily punishable because he really overswings his shots, but seems like he's got an insane amount of power in his hands. As you see, 3 knockdowns for Timarov. Vergara was just straight up sprinting away. It was really fucking funny. But eventually it was just too much. Landed some good body shots as well when he had his opponent hurt, which I like from a guy. When you have a guy hurt to the head, I like it when they rip the body. It shows a little bit of fight IQ, not just a headhunt. But then he followed those body shots up with shots to the head and got himself a round 1 TKO over CJ Vergara. And I picked Timarov KO. He got that one done. Good performance from him. I'm excited to see where he goes. Moving up to welterweight, Daniel Rodriguez versus Alex Morono. I picked Daniel Rodriguez. I thought he would knock out Alex Morono in this fight. He did not. This fight was much closer than I thought it would be. Alex Morono looked decent in the first round, and that was about it. Alex Morono was landing an overhand right, basically. In the first round, Daniel Rodriguez looked very switched off and very slow. And Alex Morono kind of looked turned on, but Alex Morono does Alex Morono things and gasses out hard as fuck by the third round and looked like a shell of the guy who came out in that first round. But I also think that's a little bit more of Daniel Rodriguez kind of like Morono was coming down from the first round. Rodriguez started to pick it up. So Rodriguez started to hit that momentum switch in the second round, finding his shots much better than Alex Morono, and he carried that momentum through round 3, got himself a takedown in round 3 as well to secure himself the fight. I don't agree with the split decision here, even a fucking little bit. Almost every split decision on this fucking card I thought was horrible. Like, I couldn't believe that a lot of these were split decisions. I thought Rodriguez 2-3 clear. Clear as fucking day. I thought he won 2-3. But I picked D-Rod by knockout. He got it done via split decision, but I think it was a pretty clear 29-28 if you ask me. Uh, Not the best performance from Rodriguez, but Moreno looked better than he did in his last fight. So credit to him, I will say that for sure. Um, Moving up to lightweight, Grant Dawson versus Rafa Garcia. Man, Grant Dawson beat the shit out of Rafa Garcia. Took him down in the first round. He was showing some improved striking also early on in both rounds 1 and 2. Throwing some nice kicks, some fucking spinning heel kicks, stuff like that, switching it up. It looked nice, and nothing landed too insanely clean. Um, but it's a good look for a guy because he looked a lot more comfortable on the feet, and his striking looked a little bit more fluid. So a guy with grappling like Grant Dawson, mixing in that striking and making those improvements, I think this is honestly probably one of his best performances. He looked great in this fight. And the second it hit the mat, I mean, it was an absolute wash. He is just so dominant with the ground and pound and the submission threats. Grant Dawson's a hard guy to deal with. I still can't believe Bobby Green shit him. But yeah, I picked Grant Dawson by I think round 2 TKO, and he got it done by round. No, I picked him by round 2 sub. He got it done by round 2 TKO. I thought he would soften up Garcia, maybe sink in an RNC, but no, man, he just started wailing on him from the mount. It was a really good performance from Grant Dawson. Vicious ground and pound to win the fight over Rafa Garcia. He deserves a ranked opponent for sure. Uh, I would honestly like to see. I don't know who I'd want to see Grant Dawson fight. Maybe a Jalen Turner. But yeah, Grant Dawson got it done. Round 2 TKO. Got the takedown. Got the ground and pound. Easy work for Grant Dawson. Had a funny post-fight interview as well. So good for him. Moving up to welterweight, Chidi Njokuani versus Jared Gooden. I picked Chidi Njokuani. I thought he would get a TKO in this fight, and he did not. But I mean, I credit that to Jared Gooden's just being an absolute brick shit house. His chin is insane. I mean, that guy was eating some bombs, some nasty elbows. The story of this fight was largely Chidi Njokuani controlling Jared Gooden with the tie clinch up against the cage. Jared Gooden had absolutely nothing for that tie clinch, and Chidi Njokuani was just blasting body shots, hard knees to the body the entire fight. Also, giant elbows from over the top and the tie clinch. A very impressive performance from Chidi Njokuani. And I took some notes. And I said I trust Chidi's cardio at 170. Is what I said in my video, and I'm glad I did because he looked great. He didn't look tired at all. Even his takedown defense looked good too. It surprised me. I saw him get taken down at the start of round 1. I was like, oh fuck, here we go. But he got right back up, not just with explosiveness and energy. He got back up with technique. I think Chidi Njokuani, this is his best performance for me because he showed 3-round cardio. He showed the ability to grapple, and he used technique to get up when he was in a not advantageous position. A real dominant performance from Chidi, 30-27. Great tie clinch, great striking. Good performance for him. I think the more decision wins he gets, I think the better he's going to be. Yeah. Moving up to the co-main event, Brad Tavares versus Jung Young Park. I picked Jung Young Park. Now, I thought Brad Tavares, actually. I picked Jung Young Park. I picked him by decision, 29-28 or a split, is what I thought. And that was actually exactly right. I believe the split came down to the first round, right? Did it? No, it came down to the second round. The second round, for sure. The first round, Brad Tavares opened up the fight with a big knockdown on Jung Young Park that they didn't credit with a knockdown, which is interesting. It looked like one in the moment. But Brad Tavares was landing big shots in round 1. Jung Young Park was kind of having to fight him off a little bit in that round 1. He hadn't quite found his distance. He hadn't quite found his timing. The pressure wasn't quite there. Brad Tavares, in my opinion, got the round 1. Just landed the better shots, landed some big damaging shots early on in the fight. But once that second round started, Jung Young Park found his jab, man. He found his jab, and he was jabbing the face off of Brad Tavares, pressuring him up against the cage, staying right up close to him. Just not letting Brad Tavares breathe, landing nice calf kicks as well, keeping himself pretty defensively responsible, and just outstriking Brad Tavares in round 2. Found his jab. I think he over doubled up Brad Tavares on significant strikes in this round. I don't think there was any takedowns in round 2. I can't remember exactly. Maybe there was one, but for like a split second. But yeah, Jung Young Park round 2 outlanded Brad Tavares, found his jab, landed the better shots, outstruck him by like 2 times. I don't know how a judge gave that second round to Brad Tavares. They're smoking crack in Las Vegas, fellas. But yeah, Jung Young Park, I said he'd get it done probably by a split decision, and he did. I don't think this should have been a split decision at all. I thought Park 2-3 was clear as day. Also, round three. I forgot to break down round three. Round three, Jung Young Park got Brad Tavares up against the cage with the pressure and the striking. Got a takedown on Brad Tavares. Not a lot of guys do that. Not a lot of guys get Brad Tavares to the ground. And an interesting thing is once Jung Young Park got Brad Tavares to the ground, Brad Tavares didn't get back up. Jung Young Park just simply controlled him for like 4 minutes in that third round off a takedown, which is impressive. I didn't think Jung Young Park would get a takedown on Tavares. I really didn't. I said that in my breakdown. Um, but he did, and he looked good. He controlled him easily once he got him to the mat and secured himself that third round and secured himself that decision win. Good win for Jung Young Park. Jung Young Park fans, we ride. Moving up to the main event, Brandon Royval versus Tatsuro Taira. I went with Brandon Royval by decision. Uh, and he won that shit by decision. I said the odds were insane on this matchup, and they got even worse. Like if you got in on this fight late as a bettor and took Brandon Royval plus 250, enjoy your coin. If you took Brandon Royval decision, enjoy your coin. This fight was fucking awesome. This is like, dude, this is why I hate the Apex. This fight this fight needed to be in front of a crowd, a fucking full crowd. This fight was insane. It was so fun. The momentum swings were absolutely crazy. Let's get into it. Round one, Brendan Royval goes out there. He defends the initial takedown from Tatsuro Taira, and round one was pretty much these two guys feeling each other out a little bit. Brendan Royval landed the better shots, though, in round one. Pretty clearly, in my opinion. Tatsuro Taira really didn't offer much in the terms of striking in round one. And yeah, I think you give Brandon Royval round one. Threw more out there, defended the grappling, defended it for the most part, and landed the better shots. I think round one, clear Brandon Royval. Round two, Tatsuro Taira, he got the takedown in round two. And the story of this fight is I think Tatsuro Taira is the most elite back taker in this division. I think he might be better than Pantoja. Like once this kid gets that body lock on your back, your best case scenario is that you lose the round. This guy held on to that body lock. Every second of control time that guy had on the mat was him holding a body lock. And he stayed with Brandon Royval so well. Like Royval is an incredibly hard guy to keep in one spot. He scrambles so well. He's so slimy with the way he grapples. Tatsuro Taira kept that body triangle. He'd go half Nelson. He would tie Royval up. He had him folded like a pretzel in round two, and he just banked an insane amount of control time. Now, what Royval, I can't remember. I think it was in round two. I can't remember exactly because the fight just happened, and it's not it's not super fresh in my head. I did have a little bit of a concussion like almost 2 weeks ago now, but I'm not quite 1000% back. And Brendan Royval was doing basically he was using leg locks to sweep at the end of these rounds to get up to his feet. That's why you see he has 3 submission attempts. All of those, I think, 2 of those were leg locks. 2 of those were leg locks. He used to sweep to get up to his feet. But round 2, dominated by Tatsuro Taira, got that body triangle. And once he got Royval's back in the body triangle, Royval had absolutely nothing for him. Round three was cinema, fellas. Round 3 was cinema. Brendan Royval beat Tatsuro Taira. He beat the shit out of that boy in round 3. He had Taira falling over everywhere, landing big shots, huge combos on the feet, had Taira just stunned, had him stun locked, had him absolutely stun locked in round 3. And this is what I said in my breakdown. I was like, dude, if Brandon Royval starts landing volume on him, he's not going to be able to time him. He wasn't able to. I said Tatsuro Taira is one of the most precise and technical strikers in this division. He's very patient and he throws clean shots and he tries to time guys. He had an impossibly hard time timing Brandon Royval because Brandon Royval was giving him a different look basically every second they were on the feet. And he was landing that he found his 1-2 range, and man, he was just spamming that shit, and it was landing clean. Taira was not seeing it, and he was not moving his head. And Royval hurt him bad. He hurt him bad with 2 knees as well. Taira goes in for a takedown. Royval caught him with the knee, was landing big elbows on the side of his head too on that round. In that round, I'm pretty sure. And then out in space, Tatsuro Taira was trying to get a takedown as well. Brandon Royval landed a big knee and dropped him. Actually dropped Tatsuro Taira. I believe was on his back landing shots as well. Honestly, could have finished him in the third round. Was very close. It was this close to finishing him in the third round. But I believe Tatsuro Taira for like the last 40 seconds or so in that round got a takedown and was able to control Royval for that last 30 seconds, or last minute to 30 seconds, but that was not nearly enough to offset the absolute ass whipping he took in round 3. Round 4, Tatsuro Taira goes out immediately into the takedown. Just gets the takedown with about 4:30 on the clock. And at that point, I was like, fuck. Watching it live, I was like, fuck me, dude. I cannot believe it. We're going to piss this fight away. Got that body triangle, man. Got his back. That's like another 4 minutes of another 4.5 minutes of control time. I mean, Royval just could not get out of that body triangle. Not for lack of trying. The man was flipping around, doing everything he could, trying any position to spin out of that body triangle to break it, but he just couldn't do it. Taira just held true. I think this was the round where Taira got a pretty close rear naked choke on Brandon Royval. Like I said, forgive me if I don't remember everything perfectly. But yeah, it is just a dominant Taira round grappling. It's just Royval had his back taken for 4.5 minutes and he just had nothing for him. And Taira was just basically free reigning on Brandon Royval. What I wanted to see from Taira, though, was a little bit more ground and pound. Like the position he has is great, but he needs to start getting some more offense going once he has these positions on these guys, because the control time is great and it banks him the round, but he's not landing any damage on Royval at all. But yeah, Tatsuro Taira clearly won the 4th round, dominated the 4th round. And then round 5, Brandon Royval's corner gave him a fucking pep talk. He went out there and he put it all on the line. He went out there against Taira, and once again just kind of put it on him on the feet. Now, Taira was getting close on some of these takedown attempts, but Brandon Royval in that 5th round, he had a fire lit under him, man, and he was defending those takedowns very well and reversing positions very well, getting off of the cage and getting space and getting back to landing his shots in the feet. Landed beautiful 1-2s, landed a lot of nice shots on Taira. Obviously, Taira was landing shots back, but they were few and far between due to just the insane volume Royval was throwing at him. I mean, you can see the significant strikes. He tripled him up, and at the end of that fight, Brandon Royval got Taira down, got him into a pretty vulnerable position by doing a bunch of damage on the feet, got him down, started raining down shots, and then put Tatsuro Taira in a rear naked choke. It was not an in choke. It was a very deep face crank, though. I mean, Tatsuro Taira his neck was at a 90-degree angle staring off at the crowd. He was getting cranked. But obviously, a guy like Tatsuro Taira with all that grappling experience, he's going to fight his way out. He's not tapping to a neck crank. But Royval secured himself that 5th round for sure with all of the damage he landed on the feet and on the mat. And in the last 50 seconds of that fight, having his back and going for that face crank to end the fight. I thought Brandon Royval clearly won rounds 1, 3, and 5. I don't know how this was a split decision, to be honest, but he got it done. I was so worried they were going to screw him when I heard it was a split. My hands were on my head. I was like, no, don't rob me of the clean sweep. Don't do it. But they didn't. They didn't. Fuck you, Sal D'Amato, by the way. Brandon Royval got it done. Insane performance. The #1 flyweight in the world. My favorite flyweight. Put on an electric fight. Tatsuro Taira is my second favorite flyweight. And this fight shows you why. This fight was fucking awesome. You saw high-level striking. You saw incredibly high-level grappling. You saw momentum swings. You saw drama in every round. This is what you want to watch fighting for. It's an absolute fucking shame they put this shit in the Apex, man. Because this fight would have lit up a crowd like crazy. But yeah, that's it for this recap, fellas. We did really good on this card, obviously. I'm going to do recaps for every single card, even if I do shitty. And sometimes I do shitty, guys. Like, you don't sweep cards every fucking week, you know what I mean? But I was just really excited about this card. One of my favorite fighters won. I was absolutely fucking stoked for him. So I decided to make this the first video recap I do. I also got my mic quality fixed, so I shouldn't sound like I'm in a fucking steel barrel. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this recap. I appreciate it so, so much. And as always, I'll catch you guys next time. I'll see you guys next week, next Tuesday for more fight predictions. See ya.